Hello and welcome back to my channel. So naturally this video is going to be slightly different to the ones that I have previously done. I had actually set out a significant amount of time on Saturday to record the Le Mans video, but unfortunately after the accident that involved Jason Pasquet, Jeremy Alcoba and Yumu Sasaki, I just genuinely didn't feel up to it. I was very worried about them, like the rest of the paddock and the motorsport community in general. And instead of doing a catch-up video from Le Mans and Mugello, I decided to instead take a look at what happened this weekend with Jason Pasquet and what has come from it. It's quite a hard subject to talk about because he was such a lovely, smiley, happy, funny kid, and 19 is absolutely no age to be taken from this world. So obviously it is a sensitive subject, so I apologise if I do get quite tearful or choked up, and if you don't want to go over what happened this weekend, I'm not going to obviously be sharing any details about what happened, and no pictures or anything like that. That side of it I don't even want to particularly address. But if this is something that you don't want to see, you don't want to hear about, and you'd rather just move on, then obviously that's fine with me. I will attempt to get a video up within the next probably week or so after Barcelona to go over that race instead. And I will try to get back on track with videos, but unfortunately it was a situation that really took the wind out of me and out of the entire motorsport community. So if this isn't something you want to see, you don't want to talk about it, then switch off. Before we go any further, just switch off. I don't mind, I don't care, it's whatever you want to do. So the main thing to come out of, well, there's two main things that have come out of this weekend, three if we're going to push it. It is the coverage of the accident, which in my personal opinion was just disgraceful. It was disgraceful, it was disrespectful, and I actually can't believe the way it was covered. The aftermath of the news and the outpouring of love from the entire motorsport industry, from literally like all corners, everyone had something to say to offer condolence. And at a push, the third would be is the way that people have responded to other fans online. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the actual coverage, and to say I'm disappointed would be an understatement. I'm absolutely and utterly completely disgusted in the way that it was handled. There is almost an unwritten, well, I don't even know if it's unwritten, it's probably written down somewhere, that unless a rider is okay and has got up, you don't show the coverage. You don't show them, because not everyone travels with their families or their partners, and it's not just that. The teams don't even know what's happened in the immediate aftermath of a crash. And for 45 minutes we got coverage of marshals and medical staff surrounding, well, we didn't even know who it was, because the only person that actually walked away from that accident, thankfully, was Jeremy Alcoba. There was no news on what had happened to Ayumu either. So my personal experience is I do know Ayumu. I've spoken to him multiple times. He's such a lovely guy. And I was stood in my kitchen watching this coverage and in floods of tears, because I didn't know if this was someone who I knew that was in this in such a serious condition that they'd put privacy screens up. There was ambulances, there was so many, like the number of marshals was already an indication that things were bad. So at that point, as soon as it happened, as soon as they red flagged it, that should have been it. They should have stopped footage. The fact that they carried on, and not just that, they carried on to the point where you were seeing medical staff holding IV drip bags in their hands and medical paraphernalia. And then the fact that when the medical helicopter landed, they tracked around to almost see if they could get a glimpse of who it was and what had happened to this person that was getting loaded into this helicopter. And as a fan, that's hard to see. But his family's not there. And his family's probably watching the same footage that all of the fans are, and they don't know who it is. So you've actually got two sets of families that are watching someone being seen to for 45 minutes on the track, not being moved, and then you're seeing them loaded into a helicopter with no idea what their condition is. And it's not just that, it's the teams. The teams don't know. The teams watch the same footage as us. It's not like F1 where you can radio your driver and say, like, are you okay, and get a response. It's not like that. Seeing him lying on the track was the longest 45 minutes of my life, I think. And then to show at the start of FP4, to be going around all of the riders in their garages and see the faces, the concerned faces. It was disgraceful. And honestly, whoever decided that because it had been shown live, the crash had been shown live, it almost took away the shock value, and therefore people might want to see what's going on. No. First and foremost, they're people. They're people with feelings, with friends, with family, with partners, some with children. They don't want to see that. No one wants to see it. And that needs to change. The way that was handled was... I've never seen anything like it, because I was absolutely gobsmacked in the worst possible ways. And to make it worse is, I don't know how many other people have been caught out by this in the past, where if you upload something and they don't decide that it's copyrighted to them because it's taken on track or something along those lines, the FIA are quite good at copywriting, like literally everything as well. But from the MotoGP side, if Dorna decides that something's copyright, then it gets pulled. It's like, or you get a warning saying that it's copyright and therefore your account's going to be suspended. So, and yet there's footage online of this crash that within the last 2 days it's got almost 1 million views. Still up. And it's getting circulated to the point where Jason Topasky's little brother, Brian Topasky, has had to ask people to not share the footage. And I don't know about you, but I think there is something extremely ghoulish about the fact that people have outright ignored the plea of someone whose brother has died and who doesn't want to see this footage, obviously, because I don't want to see this footage, and he's not a family member of mine, he's not someone I've grown up with and, as Brian has put it, looked up to. So the fact that people are ignoring this, have seen this plea from this kid and then have pretty much just gone, yeah, well, I'll carry on sharing it because other people might want to see this horrendous crash and claim the life of a 19-year-old boy, and had multiple people involved. It's ghoulish in the nicest, like, it's the nicest way possible is to say that it's absolutely ghoulish, and I don't understand anyone that thrives on, that finds stuff like that interesting. It's just horrendous, and I don't understand it. The next bit, the next point would be the outpouring of love from the motorsport community has been the one shining light of this weekend. Everyone in the MotoGP paddock felt it, because you do when you lose someone at a circuit that you are then going racing at. One criticism, the fact that no one told the top three in Parc Fermé. My heart felt so heavy for Bez saying about Jason and how and hoping he would be back, when we all knew that he'd passed away. But the outpouring of love from everywhere has been phenomenal, because they all know that there is risks involved, and they all know that that's like the ultimate risk. But thankfully, the way that safety has evolved within the last few years, it's not as common as it used to be. So when it happens, it's horrific, and you feel the ripple effects around through the community, like the motorsport community, because in a way they all end up knowing each other. They're all intertwined in some way because they've all got an affinity for fast things. But I was taken aback by how many F1 drivers were immediately on social media sending their thoughts and prayers to Jason, and then once the news had broken, the number of them who took to social media to express condolence, and it kind of rippled out from that. They had like the F1 accounts, BSB, World Superbikes. Everyone wanted to offer their support to the team and the family and his friends, and it's a mild comfort that so many people are watching and expressing their sadness for your sadness, because you can like this part of the issue. Like, there is one massive issue with motorsport fans when they say about how you can't accept about people not being able to accept when someone passes away because it is a risk, because in a way it's not as big a risk as it used to be. There's not people who are getting seriously hurt every single weekend, or like having fatalities every season. Safety measures have come a massive way since back in the day. So personally, I really don't believe that you should have to accept that death is a risk with motorsport, because it shouldn't be, and it's a small risk. Injury, broken bones, torn ligaments, nerve damage, things like that. Yes, career-ending stuff, but not fatal. And fans that actually have a, like, outright have a go at you, argue with you because you hurt because of the loss of someone, and you grieve for them. Fans like that aren't real fans. Just because you don't know someone personally doesn't mean you can't grieve for them. I have spent the last few days literally on and off just having bouts of feeling really tearful because of it. And whilst I don't know Jason, I never got the chance to meet him because he came into it in 2020 when the pandemic was on, so he was someone that I never actually got the chance to meet in the paddock. I've met his team, I've met other people in the paddock who are affected by it. I have spoken multiple times to Ayumu, who was involved in the crash, and you can grieve for people that you have never come in contact with. It's empathy to feel the pain that they are, in a small manner, to feel the pain that they are feeling. Because no one should have to lose a family member at such a young age. It's not on. It's just not something that you should have to accept and you should have to deal with. Incidences like this are horrific, and there is no other way of putting it. I'm extremely glad that they're rare, but when they happen, they affect everyone. Everyone throughout the paddock. They affect people who work in it, they affect the fans, sponsors, because when you've dedicated so much time to watching these guys and you put effort into supporting them, there is no easy way of accepting that they're gone. And it's not fair the way that it happens, and it doesn't seem fair that we have to carry on without him and we didn't get the chance to see how he was going to progress for the rest of the season, because he was doing so well. He was so much improved from last year, from his rookie season, and I don't think it was going to be long before he was going to be fighting near the front. Motorsports is cruel. There's no two ways around it. It's a cruel sport that we unfortunately love. All I hope for the rest of the year is that they all come home safe. And a safe season for the rest of them, and many more seasons for them to come. Just gonna finish off by saying, sending my condolences to the De Pasquier family, to Proustel, all of the team, to his friends, his family, everyone up and down the MotoGP paddock, and everyone who was touched by Jason, because he's going to be sorely missed. But if there's one thing that Proustel have definitely made us aware of, is he wouldn't want anyone to carry on without a smile on their face, because he was such an incredibly happy, smiley, cheeky boy. So that's it. Hopefully my next video will be slightly nicer. I hope so, at least. But for now, bye.